Welcome back to another episode, and today we are going to go over my best bass fishing lures. What I did is I took this box and I put in a variety of some of the best baits I've ever used for largemouth bass fishing and smallmouth bass fishing. Now, I'm in Michigan, but these baits will work all across the country. And I've actually had people ask me, what box is this? This is the Bass Mafia 3700 series size box, but it is the 2.0. Alright, so first up in the box, we're actually going to go over the Megabass Vision 110 Plus one. This is the M shad color, I do believe, and you'll see by the paint, it's been absolutely torn apart by smallmouth bass and pike. Now, a lot of people will say about the Megabass Vision 110 or Vision 110 Plus one, it's finesse fishing. No, this is not a finesse fishing technique for me. This is power fishing. Now, I will fish it with 8-pound test on a spinning rod, or I will fish it on a casting rod with 10 or 12 pound test. But when I'm thinking finesse fishing, I'm thinking like a Ned rig or a drop shot. We're actually going to talk about a Ned rig here. But this is a power fishing technique for me. And this jerkbait will catch fish all year, including the summer. Sometimes when other jerkbaits will not. And this is one bait that, yes, it is $25 to $30. Yes, it's expensive. I understand things are expensive. You want to save money. I get it. I'm the same way. But I'm going to tell you what, if you pick these baits up, you will not be disappointed. So what we're going to do as we kind of go on is we're going to talk about the hard baits first, and then we're going to move on to the bottom baits and all that other stuff. Just kind of jump around in this order. And you guys got to do me a favor. If you enjoy videos like this or the fishing videos on my channel, whichever one, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. We're going to hit 30,000 subscribers either today or tomorrow. It's just growing that fast. So do me a favor. Jump on board if you enjoy the videos, and I really appreciate it. Up next, you do have another bait that I talk about all the time, and that is the Strike King 5XD. Now, one of my only issues with this bait is the stock hooks will rust, and it's good to change them out. But what I like about this bait so much is it's actually torn up from all the fish that I've caught on it. It might not look like it because of the lighting, but it is torn up pretty good. But these are really durable. There you go. That's a better look at it. These are really durable baits. I do like to fish them with 15 or 16 pound test on a medium heavy power moderate action rod. And one thing that I do like about the 5XD is it actually is a deep diving crankbait. Now, what I consider to be a deep diving crankbait is 15 feet or deeper. I know you could call it 10 foot that, but anything that is 6 to 10 feet, I still like to call that a mid diving crankbait, a mid depth. So deep diving crankbaits, I will go with the Strike King 5XD and deeper. And this will, again, catch anything just like the jerkbait, but this is a smallmouth bass crankbait exclusively for me. I've caught largemouth with it for sure. I'll throw it for largemouth, but smallmouth, love this thing. Up next, one of my highest producing baits of all time is the Strike King Red Eye Shad. Okay? Anything craw in the spring is going to catch you fish. Largemouth, smallmouth, pike, you name it. When they hear this thing, or when they feel the vibration with their lateral line, they have no choice to react. They have no choice but to react, excuse me. They see it, they hear it, they're going to go after it. This is a bait that I would go as far as to say this is one of the best baits ever created. And yes, this is a brand new one. Now, funny that we talked about the crankbait, because we're going to go ahead and move on to two Rapala DT6 colors. But before we do that, real quick, this 5XD was the sexy blueback herring. Now up to your Rapala DT6, you do have the blaze color. Again, largemouth, smallmouth, pike, you name it. Crappie, panfish, a lot of things will hit these. It's been absolutely destroyed by fish, and this is a bait that I would recommend all year, but I'm going to catch the majority of my fish with this bait in the spring and fall. Now, chartreuse is a color that you want to have. And for me, again, it's going to be largemouth and smallmouth, spring and fall, but I will throw it in the summer once in a while. Now, a flat-sided crankbait is a bait that I do like to use in the early spring. This is actually a Guggen flat banger in the corn pop craw color. I do really like that bait. I do really like the color. I like the action, okay? It's a wide wobble, but it's also a tight wobble at the same time. Very good bait. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is one of my all-time favorites, but I do like this flat-sided crankbait, and I do fish it when I can. But so far, all the other baits, those are my all-time favorites. I just kind of wanted to throw that one in there with it. Now, one thing that I do not do enough of on my channel is fish topwater. I'll fish topwater for a couple months here and there, 1 year, then the next month I'll do it a lot, or the next year I'll do it a lot, the next year I won't do it enough. But a walking bait, whether that is a Spook Junior right here, this is actually a saltwater spook. I tried to get the original Spook Junior, but I can't find it in my tackle collection. And you do have baits like this, the Storm Original Series Chug Bug, baits like that. Those are the topwater baits that I like. I have fished frogs. I have caught fish with frogs, but I do need to start doing more of that this year. But a walking bait, whether it is this or a KVD Sexy Dog Junior, or even the Megabass Dog X Diamante, those are all good baits. Now, you can use braid, you can use monofilament, but for a bait this size that is what, at 3/16, a quarter ounce, something like that, the Spook Junior Freshwater is 3/16. I do like to use monofilament with a medium power fast action. I either like a 6'6" or a 7 foot. Now, you can go longer or shorter, but again, just like everything else, it is personal preference. So we're going to go ahead and move down to the bottom baits and a couple other moving baits. And I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. So a finesse jig is something that I've learned to carry on me at all times. And do you want to know why? Not only do they catch fish, this right here is it's a BPS, or excuse me, it's an XPS tungsten finesse jig. It's actually a 3/8 ounce size, and it does have a net bait pack a chunk trailer on there. Earlier in the season, I do like to have something like a chunk trailer or something that's just going to fall faster. And then as it gets warmer, I do like a slower fall. Sometimes I will interchange the two, and then you do have a Strike King Bitsy Bug. This is actually a 1/4 ounce. This is a 3/8. Remember, I always tell you guys that tungsten is smaller than lead, and it is more environmentally friendly, and a whole bunch of other benefits. It is more sensitive when you're fishing it. Now, back to the beginning of this segment of the video, why I said, why do I kind of have to carry a finesse jig on me? Well, I remember over the years, and I'm talking like 8-9 years ago, I would always throw, I don't know, a 1/2 ounce jig or bigger or whatever, and I would miss bites. Well, then I started going to 1/4 ounce and 3/8, and I really started learning what type of jig to use in what situation, whether that's a football jig, a flipping jig, a casting jig. A casting jig overall is my favorite, kind of like the Arky style head, not pictured here, but you know what I'm getting at. And I learned to apply the right jig head to the right situation. Okay, so if you're fishing and it's really weedy and you keep getting hung up, I'll go to a Texas rig, okay? Or I'll throw a swim jig. But if I know that I'm going to be able to drag it slow and I can trim up my weed guard and my skirt, and I can modify that jig to make it work in that situation, that's going to help me even more. Now, again, spring and fall is my favorite time to throw a finesse jig, but I will throw them all year. And you will see that I did have two that are in the green pumpkin color, and here you also have two black and blue ones. This is actually a little juicy right here in the 3/16. And then this right here is an XPS tungsten. I do really like that XPS tungsten because it's more sensitive than I thought it would be, and it's actually pretty durable. I've taken these jigs and I've dragged them over, drug them over rocks, and they actually hold up better than I thought they would. Now, moving on, we're going to be talking about chatterbaits. And the funny thing about chatterbaits is a lot of you guys will remember that I never used to really be into a chatterbait or a bladed jig, whichever you want to call it. I was always a crankbait or a spinnerbait guy. Well, then I started getting into chatterbaits because I had people suggesting them, and that was one of the best things that I ever did. Now, I like to use something like a Rage Craw or a Rage Menace as a trailer, or I will even go with the Zacho swim bait. But this right here, the Strike King Thunder Cricket in the 1/2 ounce size, this is the bluegill color. And you will see that the Rage Craw that I do have tied on there is the green pumpkin, purple, and gold flake. This bluegill is one of my favorite colors. Bluegill is one of them, and chartreuse and white is another. Now, I like green pumpkin, I like craw, I like black and blue fire craw, which is sold out again, that I have a ton of. But chartreuse and white is a color that in 2020 surprised me more than any other color. You will see that the eye is missing, it is torn up. This bait has caught so many bass and pike, I can't even believe it. All right. Now, one thing that I do like to do with a bluegill colored chatterbait is I'll yo-yo it, and I'll find the bait fish, and I'll throw this bait in there. And I won't just reel it back with a steady retrieve. I'll fish it like don't drop it. I'll fish it like a wounded bait fish. Kind of swim it, fall, and then fast. And they usually react to it. So again, so far you do have a jerkbait, a crankbait, DT6, lipless, flat-sided crankbait, topwater jigs. Now we're going to move on to plastics, tubes, and a Ned rig. So I kind of hope you guys are like seeing what's going on and enjoy this. And if you have any questions, just like any other video, let me know down in the section below, and I will gladly answer that. Up next, you do have a creature bait. Why? Well, that is going to be for a Texas rigged creature bait. This is a Guggen Baits Bandito bug. This is the original size. All right, break open the appendages. I also like a rage bug, but a Bandito bug, Texas rig, 1/4 ounce weight with a 2-aught or a 3-aught hook has caught me so many largemouth and smallmouth in the state of Michigan, it's crazy. This is actually the watermelon red color. I do like watermelon red. I like natural, green pumpkin, bluegill, you name it. But if I'm going to take a bait where I'm just going to go out and fish one bait and just fish that, take one rod, don't take many baits, it's probably going to be a bottom bait. And that's going to lead me to arguably the best smallmouth bass bait ever, and that's going to be a tube, all right? Now, you guys know that I was always a fan of a goby or a green pumpkin. Well, this right here is a Great Lakes perch. This is a go-to for me. You know how sometimes they want that white color and you're catching fish, boom, boom, boom? Well, you get that Great Lakes perch. This is actually an extreme bass tackle. Great Lakes perch color, all right, in the 4-inch. And it's actually got a 3/8 ounce mustad tube jig head. This thing's been destroyed. See how it's torn up? Yeah, that's from fish. All smallies as well. A perch color tube. Add that to your arsenal. You will catch fish. Now, last, but definitely not least, and definitely not the least important, is going to be a Ned rig. If there was one bait that I was going to throw, took a little piece of a rock or something off there. There's one bait that I was going to throw, and I can't catch anything, or I'm just going to cast it out there and dead stick it, and I need to catch a fish, or I want to catch a fish, or I want to kind of figure out what's going on when other things can't help me, that's going to be a Ned rig. 8-pound test spinning, or braided fluorocarbon on spinning. I've done both. I like 8-pound fluorocarbon. I like straight fluorocarbon, just because that's how I like to fish my tubes, Texas rigs, and Ned rigs. But braided fluorocarbon is also a great option. This is a Z-Man Finesse TRD, green pumpkin color. And as I have told you guys before, I do like to rig the bait perfectly straight. It is bent a little from being in this box, but does it have to be perfectly straight? No, but I think you should do that just because you want the bait to stand up and have the action that it was intended to have. So, in conclusion, you do have a Megabass Vision 110+1. You have a Strike King 5XD, a Rapala DT6, a Strike King Red Eye Shad, a Guggen Flat Banger, a Hedden Zara Spook Jr., a Storm Original Series Chug Bug. You do have 1/4 ounce and 3/8 Finesse jigs, Strike King Bitsy Bug, and XPS Tungsten. You have a Strike King Thunder Cricket, a Guggen Bandito Bug, Extreme Bass Tackle Great Lakes Perch Tube, and a Ned rig, Z-Man Finesse TRD. Do me a favor and let me know in the comments, what are your guys' favorite baits? Did you enjoy this video? And if you have any questions, comments about rods, reels, setups, let me know. I am decently good at fishing, but one thing that I do know more than anything is the tackle. The right rod, the right reel, the right bait. Not always, but I can usually get a good feel for what's going on, especially when I'm on the water. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. I hope to hear from you guys soon, and I will see you guys. I do love this box. Next time.